All right, y'all. Happy post Christmas. Happy Boxing Day. Happy day of the proto martyr Saint Stephen, December 26th. Today, I want to talk about a movie that I saw yesterday with some family members. We were talking about, seeing a movie because it's Christmas and nothing's open. And I said, well, what about The Boys in the Boat? And my family member said, okay, yeah, let's do it. They followed my lead, and we saw The Boys in the Boat. Now, I've been intrigued by this movie ever since I saw the advertisements for it, the previews for it, just because it stands out in so many ways as just a throwback. For one thing, just to be completely frank, to be completely candid, this is a very aesthetically white, racially white movie. This is a movie which features no homo, a lot of beautiful white men, young, virile white men. And no, it's not. I don't think it's homoerotic. That's sort of that's sort of what follows from that kind of premise today. But that's just because we've been programmed to think in those terms. What I think ultimately this movie amounts to, though, is a kind of propaganda. But let's call this in more ways than one. Let's call this white propaganda. And what I mean by white propaganda isn't the racial notion of white, but if you've got movies like Civil War and Leave the World Behind, which I talked about 2 days ago, which are black propaganda in the sense that they are propaganda that is meant to make you feel hopeless and full of despair and fearful. You've also got a movie like The Boys in the Boat. Now, this movie was directed by George Clooney, who glows to the gills. I mean, this guy, George Clooney, and I like him as an actor. I'm not against him per se. Of course, he's an annoying Hollywood liberal, but I think he's charming. I think he's funny. I've liked a lot of the things that he's been in. And in this case, he's behind the camera. He's a director. And this movie is white propaganda in the sense that it is meant to make you get you behind this cause. And in this case, the cause, the lost cause, the threatening to be lost cause, is America. I think, symbolically speaking, and in order to propagandize in the manner that Boys in the Boat propagandizes, it dares to do things that any other movie would, if they did these things today, would be accused of being racist and what have you, all the standard stuff. You've got a cast of and it's based on a true story. I'm not saying that the real story wasn't inspirational in and of itself. I very much doubt a lot of the dramatic turns, twists and turns, the sort of melodramatic stuff that this movie throws in. I doubt those things actually happened in life. I'll have to go back and look, but there's some things that are just kind of nutty. That strain credulity. But that said, for what it is, it's a very well-made movie, and it's rather enjoyable. And again, I think this is a movie that audiences will flock to who ache for this kind of throwback. Who ache to see, wholesomeness, and who want to see a movie, where which looks like America used to look. to put it euphemistically. Because not necessarily because all of their races are bad, or they're down on other races, but because there's nothing wrong with embracing who you are. There's nothing wrong with seeing seeing something that's aesthetically pleasing, something that's beautiful, and something that's wholesome, and liking it and gravitating towards it. And what you have in this movie is a depiction of those things. Now, it's a depiction of those things in a way that isn't especially profound. But one thing that I would say is profound about this movie is the visuals. Aesthetically speaking, it is quite profound. What is the movie about? It's about a rowing team, a ragtag rowing team that's put together at the University of Washington, Washington State. I'm just saying Washington State to differentiate it from Washington, D.C., but it's the University of Washington that recruits these young men for the rowing team, and this is in the mid-30s, so the Depression is still raging. Our main character, our hero, is like somebody that if you saw a man with this square of a jaw, you'd think you wouldn't believe your eyes. I mean, he looks like a CGI creation in some ways. That his dimensions are so perfect. But he's a really good looking guy, but he's also like a bum. He's not a bum. I shouldn't say that, because he wants to. He works. He's putting himself out there for work, but he's a bum in the sense that he lives in his car or in some junked up. I don't think it is his car. I think it's some abandoned vehicle. While he goes to school, and while he's trying to make ends meet to become an engineer at the University of Washington, his mother died when he was young. His dad abandoned him, and so he's just been scrapping away trying to find work, and there's nothing to be found. And so when he hears about this rowing team, this crew team that's being recruited, he throws himself into it. And even though he's never rowed before, he's a natural athlete, and so he of course makes the rowing team, that makes the crew, the 8-man crew of this team, and those are the titular boys in the boat. Now, all of the boys in the boat, with maybe one exception, one guy who's a little goofy looking. He's like the resident, kind of oddball. But they're all, really good looking, strapping young men, and they're all white, and they're all, as far as we know, heterosexual. There's no gay subplot. There's no, I'm actually a racial minority. Oh, I'm actually a Jew subplot. I thought there was going to be that. I thought they would throw that in eventually, but they didn't. I don't know if the members of the rowing team, I don't know if any of them are Jewish or not, but I'm just saying that never became an issue. There was never any culture of critique sort of coloring anything. Again, pun not intended. So our hero has a very wholesome romance with a very, very pretty, sweet, young blonde. And things proceed fairly, in a fairly cliched manner. They unexpected. At first, they have trouble, getting everything together, and they sort of need a spark plug, and then they find it when they get a new. I'm sorry, I don't know rowing lingo, but the guy in the front who shouts to everybody, "Okay, guys, come on, you can do better than this." The guy in the front, the one who mushes them on, like a you tell your dogs to mush in a dog race. So they get a new guy who does that, and that gets them all, oaring together, working as a team, and they surprise everyone. They shock the world. They go from victory to victory, beat everybody. Nobody expects them to win. They're the ultimate underdogs, even though they're all great-looking young men. So they're not underdogs in the sense that there's anything visually wrong with them, or anything that when you look at them that makes you think, they must have problems, But they're underdogs because we're told that they are, and we're told that they're also poor, and whereas these other colleges are mostly, privileged people from privileged backgrounds and so forth. So they make their way to the top. They win it all, even though they're just a junior varsity team. The coach takes a chance on them, uses them in the finals, and they win it all. And then they go to the Olympics. And yes, it is the 1936 Olympics. It is the Berlin Olympics. And yes, our friend Hitler does make an appearance in this movie. Played not very convincingly by somebody who doesn't look very much like him, but who sort of does a cartoonish impression of Hitler. And yes, they shock the world. They beat the highly favored German team in the 36 Olympics in Berlin, and so it's like America is great again kind of thing. Now again, a lot of you will say, well, yeah, okay, of course it's the Nazis are the bad guys, like always, blah blah blah. But again, this is based on a true story. It actually happened in some way that resembles what happened in the movie. So give it that kind of that much. I do think it's attempt to kind of give a callback to the Greatest Generation vibes, which are just receding so much. I mean, they're sinking to the bottom of our current dispensation. We're not feeling any of that anymore. It's just in the past. It's mostly reviled. The straight white man, the heroic straight white man who made America. And this movie calls back to that. It calls back to the strong, silent type, which is like the hero of the movie. This rather stoical sort of guy, who's lived this life of hard knocks, even though he looks like a male model, but you think that a life of poverty would take it out of him a little bit more, but manages to keep his incredible good looks. And he's got this romance, and no, it's not a mixed race romance. It's with a white girl who's blonde like he is. So this is a rare instance. You don't have blonde heroes very often. That's been pointed out a lot. Even when the hero is white, he's usually not blonde. In this case, he is. And the ultimate message, or the ultimate theme of this movie is, hope, and that man can prevail, through diligent hard work, and through trusting your teammates and working together. 8 men rowing as one, the boys in the boat working together, and of course, it's not hard to see how that symbolically works, in the sense that, if we just get together, if we unite, in spite of our differences, we can, pardon the expression, make America great again. So this movie it's an interesting movie. It's well made, again, for what it is, visually stunning. I think that, I'm no custodian of historical accuracy, but the way that it looks, it looks like that there was no stone left unturned as far as the wardrobes of the time period, the sound and feel of it, and it's all very. It's like it's all it makes you want to live in that time. It's one of those movies about the past that makes you, even though you never, it was way before I was born, but it makes you nostalgic. It makes you want to be there in this society, for all of the hardships that it includes. You want to be there, seeing this stuff take place. It's visually inviting. It's visually arresting, stimulating, seductive. Even it's very wholesome. The romance is wholesome. There's no subversive messages. There's no culture of critique. Even when they go to Nazi Germany, and I thought that they were going to do something where one of the guys on the crew, might have a reaction because we find out he's Jewish, and that would be the sort of cliched way to go, but they didn't go that way. And so yes, Hitler is the bad guy. The Nazis are the bad guys, or the German team are like the representing the overdog. They're representing the ones who everybody thinks is going to win. But again, I think it's interesting to see the way that it's done in this movie. The way that America prevails over Nazi Germany isn't by being more diverse, isn't by embracing diversity and change and sexual immorality and degeneracy and all that stuff. It's by being very aesthetically pure and wholesome and by gosh, by golly, we're going to do this, and and then that actually prevails. That old fashioned kind of Americanism is what wins the day. So to me, Boys in the Boat is like like I said earlier, is an instance of white propaganda. Kind of. It's the carrot and the stick, They haven't forgotten about the carrot, I don't think. Even though all we see and all we feel, if we pay attention to the media, which we shouldn't, because they're not our friends, they don't want what's in our best interest, and we shouldn't let them bring us down. We need to be custodians of our minds and our souls and take charge and habituate ourselves to a more positive mindset. But it's interesting to see a movie like this because it will, it's not going to affect your positive mindset, or it's not going to ruin your positive mindset. But you do also have to realize deep down that this is also propaganda. But it's striking that it's a very striking kind of propaganda in that it just comes from the distant past. It comes from way before the aesthetics that we've been taught to like and agree with. There's no boss babe, there's no girl boss. There's no. It's all about masculinity, and strapping white male masculinity, and it's very interesting in that sense. So. Is this more evidence that World War III is on the horizon? Do they want to get white men to say, "Hey, we like you guys. Come on up and fight. You need to fight. You guys are good too. Forget all the terrible things we've been saying about you. We like you guys." I mean, I don't know. I'm not necessarily assigning that sinister a motivation, but you never know. And no one should underestimate just how cunning and devious and deceitful our ruling class is. But anyway, that's The Boys in the Boat. I'd recommend seeing it again. If you, as long as you know that it's propaganda, as long as you know that it's that's extremely corny, as long as you're not expecting anything great, I think. Cinematically great. Again, visually, aesthetically, you'll be wowed, you'll be amazed, and you'll be refreshed for the reasons that I've talked about here. So, has anyone else seen this movie? What are your thoughts? Leave your comments below. Thanks for watching.